There's not a moment to spare. It's quite a drop from the top. So how you feeling down there? It's a cold, cruel, harsh reality. Caught, stuck here with your enemies. Who do you think you are? Tearing us all apart. Where did you think you could go? 'Cause everyone already knows it's 20 to 1. Yeah, so you better run. You got the world on its knees. You're taking all that you please. You want more, but you get nothing from me. You like the burden we bear. You love the hate that we share. You want more, but you get nothing from me. But enemies,
I'm Nate the Effing Great, joined here by Max B for another edition of The Game Changer, and what the fuck did we just watch? For the last 3 hours, we have witnessed probably the bar that has absolutely been set for the rest of 2018. Raw, SmackDown, good luck topping tonight.
Well, I mean, at least in terms of, like, shock value and, like, storyline potential, because if there was a flaw tonight, and that's kind of our job, kind of. We praise and critique. On a 3-hour show, there were only 4 matches.
There really only wasn't there? Holy crap. I actually didn't even notice that.
I mean, I know they had can't even talk. I know they had a lot to work in, but it's just, I mean, apparently they had these shirts for sale, Raw 25th anniversary on the back, or maybe it was on the front. It had what they considered the top 10 matches in Raw history, and it's like, you're going to give that away on a show with only four matches, man. A little disappointing, but at the same time, holy shit, though. Holy shit. Oh my God, that happened.
Yeah, let's just not waste any time. We're going to do a bit of a review about Raw 25. Going to go through the entire show, top to bottom. If we miss anything, we apologize, but I basically took as much notes as I could during the deal. Also, during this episode, you guys, I'll be doing a special shout-out section to all the people that have interacted with myself on my Twitter page at Real Effin' Game. You guys definitely deserve it because you made the night that much special. So we'll get into those shout-outs a little bit later on in the show, but let's just go right into talking about Raw 25, the 25th anniversary show, and we kicked it off with Stephanie McMahon and Shane McMahon. They first come out and they're just praising everybody. They're saying thank you so much for, helping out with the show and for being a part of the show, thanking the fans. And then we see Vince McMahon come out and he's just, being himself, being good. And then we see Stephanie and Shane present a plaque to Vince McMahon, in which we...
continuity-minded viewers, such as myself, will recognize the Vince McMahon recognition plaque.
Yeah, really?
Yep. This is not the first time. I don't remember the specific year, but there was another time when he basically kind of awarded himself like an appreciation thing, and it was a plaque very similar.
Oh, really? I think I might have forgotten about that, but yeah, I remember they had.
It was a nice callback, man.
Oh, that is actually true. A lot of people are definitely comparing this night to Raw 1000 when they did the 1000th episode. A couple of things here and there where I could see that happening, but then there were other things where it was kind of like, no, this is different from, Raw 1000. Basically, yeah, Stephanie and Shane, they had a GoFundMe campaign, which honestly, first of all, that is funny that they even bring that up. I'm thinking that's probably been updated for so long. It was a very nice plaque, and Vince McMahon is just saying like, oh, you only got me a plaque? I've given you 25 of my best years, and you've given me a plaque? And he's just, bitching and moaning, and he's basically just cussing out everybody out, saying, I should deserve more, I deserve more. And then glass shatters. Who comes out? Why, none other than our friendly neighborhood Stone Cold Steve Austin. Did he say a word? Nope. Did he drink a beer? He drank a couple. Did he raise some hell? Oh, you bet your ass he did. Basically, Vince McMahon's just making up all of these excuses, just saying he has, his bones are brittle, and he's basically a part of the, senior citizen district. It's like, what the you're really trying to get out of a stunner, aren't you, buddy? Oh man, that was some good stuff. Just seeing Vince McMahon basically just turn it all on Shane, just saying oh, Shane is healthy, Shane is totally fine, and we see a stunner to Shane. Eventually, then we see a stunner to Vince, and then a second stunner to Shane McMahon because Stone Cold can do whatever he wants. Yeah, this is one of those moments where it's just a great way to kick off Raw.
Yeah.
Did I just take the words out of your mouth? Up.
There is a part of me that is just kind of another McMahon opening segment, but yeah, it kind of makes sense. I did like the whole what? Oh, you're copying off a plaque and him trying to get Stone Cold to stun anyone but himself. I mean, I got to appreciate it.
It's one of the foundations of how Monday Night Raw came to be, and that's the Stone Cold McMahon rivalry. In honesty, it was just you know what? If I get a stunner on McMahon, I'm happy. Stunner on McMahon, totally fine with that. 2 stunners on Shane. Somehow I'm actually okay with that too. Could we see a stunner on Stephanie? No. Another stunner to Shane. Okay, totally fine with that. Totally fine with that. At least you got 3 McMahon-type stunners, so I'm totally okay with that. All right, so we move... Oh, what's that?
I said, oh, definitely.
So we move on to one of the few matches that we actually had for the night. You pointed out that there were actually only 4 matches throughout the night, which was kind of interesting to say the least. But in all honesty, I think the other moments made it very entertaining. One of the matches we saw was a 8-woman tag team matchup in which we saw Asuka, Sasha, Bayley, and Mickie picking up a victory over Alicia Fox, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and Nia Jax when Sasha Banks locked in the bank statement on Alicia Fox, forcing her to tap out. But it didn't quite end there now, did it, buddy? I mean, there may be a certain favorite wrestler of yours that basically made a statement to everybody else on the winning team.
No idea what you're talking about. I lost my shit. Remember when I said I jumped off the couch a few times? This is one of those times.
Yes.
I was when we were texting back and forth, those of us who follow me on Twitter, those of you who follow me on Twitter got fucking excited. I posted at one point that I was just too into Raw and that I was too busy chatting it up with Nate here. And I mentioned to him that I jumped off my couch a few times during this Raw. This was one of those fucking moments. I lost my mind. We were talking at one point about how I grew up watching Raw. I remember I was watching wrestling for a few years beforehand. I started watching, someone flopping me down in front of WCW when I was 2. But I remember being 4 and staying up and watching the first episode of Raw. So I felt like a little 4 or 5-year-old again at this moment. I'm just like, yeah! Yeah! Oh, that bitch, yeah!
Yeah, so literally what happened is that Asuka threw Mickie James off the top turnbuckle and then beats down Bayley, and Sasha throws Bayley over and then basically caves in Sasha's skull before throwing her over and then just basically saying, yeah, I'm going to do that this Sunday. What of it? Nobody's going to stop me. Yeah. It's just like you said. Oh, man. That was just kind of one of those feel-good moments, just seeing Asuka just being victorious.
Oh my God, it's beautiful.
All right, so from there, we continue on with the entertaining segments. We have Kurt Angle backstage, and he actually has a meeting with Jonathan Coachman. We also get a little bit of Harvey Whippleman and Brooklyn Brawler. Harvey Whippleman, I guess, offered Coach, I think it was like a toothpick, and Brooklyn Brawler offered cigar to Coach. They're like, yep, no. Then we get Holla, 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 Teddy Long, who for the first time ever in his appearances did not make a tag team matchup. So this is kind of one of those things where it's like, this is weird seeing, Teddy Long just dancing.
And one-on-one with the Undertaker. Holla, holla, holla.
This is true.
Fucking hell, I wasn't going to find a way to work that shit in.
Oh my god.
Tonight, damn it.
It was awesome. It was awesome seeing him, and then we see Brother Love come in and just saying like, Brother Long, Brother Brawler, Brother Whippleman, Brother Angle, and he reaches Coach. He's like, Brother, I love you. It's like, wow, that's just bring Coach down. Oh, God. And then it gets more bizarre because then we get the Boogeyman. He makes a triumphant return, and I literally almost lost my shit. I'm like, oh, my God, we got the Boogeyman on here. And he just gives Coach worms, and that's it. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't do his catchphrase of, I'm the Boogeyman, and I'm coming to get you. It was one of those things where I was kind of disappointed to see that, but did not see that catchphrase being used. But at the same time, I just remember him putting the worms in Coach's hands, and they're just all looking at each other, kind of like, and of course, Brother Love just looks like he's just doped up on 4 different types of marijuana, just smiling, being like, whatever. I love worms. I ain't gonna eat them, but.
Oh God, they really did have to reference everything.
Sadly they did, and trust me, it's not the last time that they would reference so much more, because we'll get into more of that a little later. What happened tonight was that they actually did segments not only from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, but also they were emanating from the Manhattan Center in New York City, and for the most part they've done stuff up to the Barclays Center, but this is one of the first moments where we get to see them do something from the Manhattan Center, and that was The Undertaker. He comes out, and he's only wearing his jacket and his hoodie that he wore back in, I think before, WrestleMania, oh jeez, I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think it was WrestleMania 26, 27, something like that. He didn't wear the gloves, he didn't wear the hats, he didn't wear the jacket, so it was literally one of those things where it's like, okay, he's staying true to that, I'm totally okay with that. Talking about, the reign of terror that he brought for 25 years, and that, he mentioned, I think, I'm trying to remember who it was. I think he mentioned a couple names in there, one, of course, being Kane, who, did not have a good night tonight, but we'll get into that. And then he basically talks about making them all rest in peace, which kind of was the first head scratcher for me, because I'm like, is he retiring? Is that his way of saying that he's got one more match in him? What exactly? Because before this even happened, great promo package, basically showing off The Undertaker and everything that he's done over the years. But then we get to the promo, and it's just kind of like, what? Huh? I don't understand it.
I personally think this is his retirement. I really do. I think, okay, yeah, he left the pad and his gloves in the ring, took the ACL from Roman Reigns. I think tonight was just a way of finalizing it. It felt like it to me. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people are going to debate it because the wording was confusing, to say the least. So people are going to, debate it up and down. But damn, I think this is it. I think he was giving us one final.
His one final, hoorah, I guess you could say.
lot of people are going to say, oh, they should have him have one final match, and of course everyone's been going ape shit for the idea of him going up against John Cena. And don't get me wrong, would that probably be a great match? Oh, hell yeah, that would be a great match. Let the man retire. Let him fucking retire. I love The Undertaker as much as the next guy, but just, done, man. Let the poor guy go.
Yeah, you're going to get no arguments from me there. I think it's just time for him to, hang up the hat, hang up the jacket, the gloves for good. It was great seeing him on Raw. Nice to have him do that little promo deal. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see in the forthcoming months what's going on with him. Some people state that maybe he's going to be coming back for the Royal Rumble. Maybe he is saying that he's fully retired, but I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. We go into another segment that is definitely probably one of the focal points of the entertainment part of the show, and that is the APA segment, in which we see Bradshaw and Layfield. They're playing poker with, well, first off, it starts off with Heath Slater and Rhino, and Slater just getting shafted in every single one of these segments. It's just so funny. But the problem is, he's got kids, he's got a trailer, and he's spending his wife's savings. It's like, dude, just learn when to quit. But things get more interesting because then we see a giant wad of cash thrown on the table, and as soon as we saw that cash, we're like, we know who's coming out. We know who's coming. And yep, it is the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and he's added to the poker game. And let me just tell you guys...
one of the best villains. I mean, I remember as a little kid, I was watching like the tapes and stuff that my uncles had from like WCCW and a couple other promotions. And I remember just as I started watching Raw when it first started airing, watching tapes that they had totally not filmed off of just television. No, not at all. They didn't do that at all. Never. That would be illegal. I remember watching old WWF tapes, and Ted DiBiase was such. I love that guy. He's such a fucker. For the $1 million, I'm sorry. There's something so fucking brutal about sticking $100 bills in a man's mouth.
Well, and all the other things that he did, like he basically said, if you kiss my foot, I'll give you $100. Has the one kid bounce a basketball, like I think it was like 10 times, then he give him like $1,000 or something like that. All these like stupid like routine tasks that he basically humiliates everybody, and it's just one of the things where it's like, this guy, as you said, is a fucker, but he's one of the best villains in all of WWE, and definitely a true bona fide legend in any realm of wrestling.
Oh my God, right?
And crazy enough, a little cheap plug here, he is going to be appearing at the ACW Water City WrestleCon. So for those of you that were in Wisconsin and saw him tonight, you're going to get a chance to possibly meet him at the Water City WrestleCon coming on April 21st. So be sure to get your tickets now. I know we're getting ours, but still waiting on a couple things. But anyway, so moving on from that, they did a couple of these segments where they just like introduced random people who were very historic in the history of Monday Night Raw. The first thing they started off with was former Raw general managers. And by I mean, former Raw general managers, I'm talking all three of them. That there was literally one of those moments where it's like, wow, they only had enough to bring three. Oh, wait, that's because the rest were basically either Vince McMahon or Shane or Stephanie. Oh, yeah, and there's Kurt Angle, but we see Kurt Angle enough. So they introduced William Regal, who a lot of people know as the NXT general manager. We see Mr. People Power himself, Mr. John Laurinaitis, Mr. Excitement. Literally, I'm like, yes, Johnny Ace, totally okay with this. And then, of course, my boy, Mr. Controversy himself, Eric Bischoff, who got one of the biggest ovations going into the Barclays Center. Oh, man, I literally said out there that this man made my childhood. For so many years, I just remember him being the villain, being the jackass general manager that he could be, because he was awesome. It was just awesome watching him and just seeing that smuggled grin that he would have. And he was never one of those guys that was always like, hungry for lust and stuff like that, like Vince McMahon was. He was only about the power. So anytime, you would see a hot woman in there, it's usually because they're going to get literally punished. Like there was one point where he put Maria in the ring with Umaga, and I'm like, wow, he's a bit of a dick, isn't he? No, wait, it's Eric Bischoff. Of course he is. He came from WCW. Got it.
Hell yeah.
And then they announced a special guest, which was the SmackDown Live general manager, Daniel Bryan. Everybody's cheering, everybody's happy, and then we hear, awesome! Miz comes out, strutting his...
Segment got better.
That it literally did get better. And how, you may ask? Well, we saw a bit of a stare down between The Miz and Daniel Bryan, and I mean, it's kind of a match we want to see. I mean, like right now, and just give it to us now, please, WWE. We don't ask for much, but I think this would be one of those things where we would love to see it.
Yeah, I would have. This left me frustrated and conflicted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because not quite sure when Daniel Bryan will, if he will even come back. But if he does come back, I think one of the first few opponents that people want to see him fight is The Miz.
I swear to God, if we could ever, at some point, get a Miz versus Daniel Bryan match, the hype for that would just be unreal. That crowd would be ballistic, nuclear. I would probably just be on my feet the entire fucking time. Oh my God, and I've called Miz the master of stage style a million times, and I'll say it a million more times. The dude is one of the safest wrestlers in the world, and he looks really good. Does he always look good with everybody? No, I'll definitely say he's got that limitation. He does have to have the right opponent. There's Daniel Bryan. I'm sorry, the dude's wrestled Daniel Bryan before, and it was good. With this kind of story and the right crowd, it's fucking amazing. And again, Miz could easily take care of the guy so he doesn't hurt himself or get hurt or anything like that. The Miz pretty much never fucking botches. God, he's fucking perfect. And you could either, tell the story of Daniel Bryan, yeah, you really maybe can't go again and have him lose to the Miz, or you have him win and shut the Miz up. Either way, you're going to get this massive reaction, either from Miz becoming the king shit heel of all king shit heels, or Daniel Bryan getting his biggest hero moment since WrestleMania 30.
Yeah, I mean, it would be hard for them to, swipe off that opportunity, but something tells me WWE might try. But I digress. Miz came out for the reason of facing off against Roman Reigns for the Intercontinental Championship, the title that he lost, I think it was last year before the year ended, and Roman Reigns has been doing like that open challenge for quite a while. Well, now he has his first major title defense against The Miz. This was a damn good matchup. Roman Reigns and Miz definitely put on a wrestling clinic between the two of them. Miz Taraj got involved at a perfect amount of time, to the point then where the referee just ended up throwing them out. And we see Roman Reigns hit Superman Punch 1, 2, so close, but Miz kicks out. Miz hits the Skull Crushing Finale after Roman gets distracted. 1, 2, and Roman kicks out. And then we get something that a lot of us were actually not expecting. And this was great storytelling by the cameramen and great storytelling throughout the matchup. Miz gets put in a corner, and Roman Reigns is charging after the Miz. Miz ducks underneath, just gets out of the way, and then Roman goes right into an exposed turnbuckle on the second row. Roman is stunned. Miz hits a skull-crushing finale again. 1, 2, 3. Miz is your 8-time Intercontinental Champion. And the thing that they did after the match was...
Screaming!
There were a lot of people...
Oh my God! The homie Miz gets his 8th IC title, beats Roman Reigns. It was his best turnbuckle. Fuck you. I don't care. Fuck you. I don't care. Roman, I mean, don't get me wrong. This match was phenomenal. Oh my God, it's almost like I spent all that time hyping up the Miz's in-ring ability for a reason other than Daniel Bryan. Oh. Seriously, this match was great. Roman is great when you put him in the right kind of situations and let him wrestle to his strengths. His strengths are being just a fucking juggernaut, just walloping the shit out of people with a lot of really cool, really sudden power moves. And, like, if you just set him into that kind of situation against someone who's kind of small and wiry, like Miz, it works gangbusters. And this match was fucking excellent. Miz and him have great chemistry. The stuff with the Miztourage, perfectly executed. The exposed turnbuckle thing, like you said, with the storytelling, with the camera work, it's fucking great. It was phenomenal. And the ending of this, you know, Miz picking up his 8th title win. I mean, this is great. This was fucking great. I stand by that we should have had more wrestling on the show. That 4 matches is not enough. I get it. There's a bunch of stuff that was on the card for, you know, it being the 25th anniversary, but you could have trimmed some of it down, that's all I'm saying. It's some more work on there, but at the same time, when we got a match, holy shit, we got this match. So good.
It was just damn good. And I loved, as you mentioned before, how the camera work basically doesn't reveal until, like, the very end, where people are saying, like, well, what exactly, you know, is going on? When did this happen? It was happening when Roman was busy taking out the Miztourage. Miz decided, yeah, I'm going to take this turnbuckle pad off, and even the referee didn't even notice it. So it's one of those things where it's like, Miz is a genius when it comes to these ideas. So having that, and I basically said, well, I think we know what Roman's kryptonite is, and that is the exposed turnbuckle, which can be said more about Roman Reigns than it can be about John Cena. Which, trust me, we're going to talk about this guy in just a bit. But, yeah, it was just a good matchup between the two of them. Definitely match of the night. They put on a wrestling clinic. Just spot on, and congratulations to The Miz for winning his 8th Intercontinental Championship. And hell, he'll be welcoming his new baby girl into the world by saying, hey, Daddy's an 8-time Intercontinental Champion. Aren't you proud of me? And she'll just have she'll have her first smile just be with Daddy holding the Intercontinental title belts right there. It's like,
oh my God, I so want that because, hey, if we get like a shot of like Maurice, like maybe like a day or two after she's given birth with their little baby, and you know she's sitting there, and you know she's finally getting a chance to relax and smile, and the Miz is there. And the first photo was just them together, just a happy family. It's the cutest fucking thing in the world. You're like, oh, your heart melts. And then the next one, he's got his arm around Maurice. He's got that smug fucking Miz grin, and he's holding up the title, and he somehow manages to turn having the birth of his daughter into a heel move. If he does this, I will love him forever, you son of a bitch. Let him keep the title so he can rub it and his child in our faces. Yes. Give me this Omega nuclear heel heat. I want to hate him that much.
it would literally be like an episode of Fairly Odd Parents where Mr. Turner's just like, you know, sad and like upset about everything, but then he realizes, you know, he has a kid and the Dinkelbergs don't, so he literally just, as Dinkelberg's like mowing the lawn, he just shoves it right in Dinkelberg's face. He just throws Timmy in his face and in your face, Dinkelberg. So it's just like the same thing with the Miz. It's like, in your faces, you haters.
Yes. Then, like, Maurice is, you know, like, all ready to go, and, like, she can, like, leave the hospital, and she's, you know, obviously taking, you know, some time, you know, to, like, holy shit, giving birth. But eventually she comes back on, and they have their baby, and he pretty much kind of does that a little bit. Like, oh my God, that would be the shit. I mean, maybe not the best idea, because, you know, you're dealing with, like, a newborn, like, you're scared and all that, but if you could somehow pull it off, it would be, holy shit. Like, there's so many, there'd be a ton of marks, not marks, a ton of, you know, smarts, a ton of guys like us in the crowd, so applauding. And on some level, you're like, oh my god, The Miz got the crowd to hate him so much they applauded a baby.
Oh my gosh.
Psychology shit going on there. And I think at that point we have to give Miz best, like, he surpassed most other heels at that point.
Oh man, that'd be amazing. And then by the time, they decide maybe to have like a second kid, Miz will be the Universal Champion. And he pulls off the same shit, which in all honesty I would still love it just the same. Be like, yeah, I'm champion of the universe. I'm champion because I got 2 kids. And you all are just a bunch of haters. Oh man. Man, we are coming up with some of the craziest stuff, and Miz, if you do that stuff, like I said, you'll be Max's favorite wrestler forever, and honestly, you will be definitely within at least the top 20 for me. You're definitely above, it would definitely bring you up higher than what you are right now. No disrespect. Whatever. Anyway, so we move on to the next segment, which we go back to the poker game, and we see joining with them is Jeff Hardy, who legitimately looks really good. He looks pretty healthy. His arm didn't seem like it was bothering him as much, but then again, he was just chilling out, so not much you really say about that. Also joining them was MVP, which was almost like a last-minute announcement that's like, oh, hey, we're going to have MVP on the show. It's like, wait, what? Oh, this is going to be awesome. And we also had the Usos joining on Poker Game. Literally, I'm just like, oh, man, this game is just getting better and better. It does, trust me. We're just hitting the tip of the iceberg again. This is just turning it into one of the most massive things that everybody's just going to love.
I was really shocked when Jeff Hardy and the Usos joined. Like, Jeff Hardy was kind of like, oh, this is how we're going to bring Jeff Hardy back? Okay, cool. At least she's looking good. Looking, like you said, Halen Hardy. Usos come over. This is Raw's celebration. SmackDown champion? Fuck it. I'm just happy to see the Usos.
Well, I mean, they
just think, years ago, that would not have been my reaction to the Usos.
Well, I mean, they
oh, great, the Usos are here. Goddamn, turning heel is the best thing to ever happen.
I mean, they did defeat, Sheamus and Cesaro at Survivor Series, so I think it's kind of like, here's kind of a bonus for winning. You get to come on our anniversary show, so why not?
Yeah, pretty much.
The next segment was the Peep Show, hosted by Christian himself. Of course, a lot of people were curious, where was Edge? He was actually in Ireland, filming on location, I think, for a future movie that's going to be coming out. So, best of luck to you, Edge. Hopefully, you're enjoying Ireland as much as you can. Be sure to give a shout-out to Jacksepticeye for us.
Nice. Also, shout-out to Christian for realizing that there are other colors than orange for his spray tan.
I was
Sorry, always the worst about the spray tan. He looked like Hulk Hogan. He has discovered the color yellow, though.
Jesus.
Hey, just because it's the 25th anniversary of Raw, just because it was cool to see Christian, doesn't mean I'm not going to be me.
I know. I literally...
I would not be me if I were not me.
I literally was more focused on Christian's hair because he kind of went into like a darker color than his usual, his usual blonde hair. So that was kind of the first thing that stuck out to me. And now that you mention it, it's like, oh yeah, his spray tan did look a little more different than normal.
I shoot a Pikachu.
Jeez, we're getting way too...
Okay, I'm done. Everyone, I'm done tearing into Christian's spray tan.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, we're giving him a lot more screen time or talking time than what Raw did tonight. Because basically, what ended up happening is that Christian introduced his guests of Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan, in which, wow, Jason Jordan got, how do I want to describe this? Vicky Guerrero type of heat, where they literally just were not having any of them. Where they were just like, yeah, no, we're not going to let you talk. We're not going to let you talk. Jason Jordan's just like, oh, can we give a round of applause for my dad, Kurt Angle? It's like, yeah, he's still being that whiny kid, but people are just like, yeah, no, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear it. This, of course, brings out the Bar, who, of course, just may elevate the bar of Monday Night Raw like they always do. Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins are attacking the bar. And then, unfortunately, Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan have a little bit of a miscommunication deal where Seth Rollins is just like, I'm going to try and do a flying knee. Oh, no, I hit my partner. Well, I mean, it's Jason Jordan, so whatever. I mean, he still shows concern, but I'm sure deep down inside he's just like, why am I teaming up with this guy? Oh, yeah, because Dean Ambrose had a case of bad elbow, so this is my fate now. This is my punishment for existing. Just, yeah. This segment here was probably one of the more, I guess, downsides. They were trying to hype up the tag team title matchup this Sunday, but it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, are they going to get along? Are they going to go along? Or are they going to lose the tag team titles? What's going to happen this Sunday? It's like, who cares? Focus on the wrestling, not the story.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I was right there with the crowd. Fuck you, Jason Jordan. I mean, everyone's like, oh, well, this just means he's a really effective heel. I mean, he is, and I can respect that, but for me personally, it's like an actual kind of annoying. Like, it's kind of like how people will argue that, oh, Jar Jar Binks was supposed to be annoying. Yeah, he did his job way too well. Kind of the same thing with Jason Jordan. He's too annoying. It's just, no, dude, no, go away. I don't want you on my screen. Like, it's not like full-blown Xbox, but seriously, get the fuck off my screen. Good wrestler, no fucking Chad Gable.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. Then we get into a segment where we have Alexa Bliss basically being asked, does she feel like she's going to be even the Raw Women's Champion before WrestleMania comes? And this draws out Charlotte, who, once again, just having the whitest teeth that I have ever seen in my entire life. And it goes perfectly well because as she's basically putting down, Alexa Bliss, and no, I'm not trying to make a short pun, but I think I might have to soon. But anyway, Ric Flair comes in, and he's basically saying how Charlotte's going to be the champion, she's going to be a champion next year, the later years, and the years before that, and blah, 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 and just insulting Alexa Bliss. Bliss leaves, and they both just do their classic, woo! It's just great to see Ric Flair. It's one of those things where it's like, I can't downplay this segment. It's awesome to see Flair, especially after everything that he went through last year. Anytime I see Flair, it's like a positive note. And just seeing him and Charlotte together is always just a heartwarming deal. It's just like great to see the two of them together. It's awesome.
Oh God, it's fucking beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's true. So, I would, but we got to talk more about the poker game that continued on to happen. It was somehow the main focus for this stinking show. This might as well be like, Monday Night Raw, poker game edition, because there were more segments for that backstage deal than anything else. They return back and they have Titus Worldwide brought in, as well as Natalya, and Natalya wins a hand. Just, man, just another funny deal. And I think, I think that actually it was really good to see that Dana Brooke actually had a funny line in the entire deal, where she just says, "I've crunched my numbers. I've noticed that you are basically running low on money." It's just like, damn, Dana Brooke has jokes. I'm totally okay with that. Although I'm kind of surprised that nobody said, hey, let's play strip poker yet. But hey, you can't deny that was an awesome moment for Monday Night Raw.
Shut up.
TNA versus the APA. Strip poker, come on. It's just, honestly, I think that, besides the part of, Trish Stratus stripping down every single time TNA lost, but just seeing the reaction of Tess and Albert, where the two of them are just like arguing, like, "Oh, show me your cards." Nope, I have a good hand. And it ended up just losing all the time. It's just like, oh my god, it's just an awesome moment. I don't care what anybody says.
I suppose.
Oh, what's wrong? You didn't like TNA? I would have thought that'd be your favorite tag team.
I liked it to a point. Yep, it was 2009.
Oh, jeez, you're talking about that TNA. I think we're talking about the tag team.
Before Hogan got involved, before Bischoff got involved, before they brought back the square ring. I remember watching it. I caught like the third or fourth or something like that weekly pay-per-view. I remember that shit back in the day. I remember fucking Russo coming out and saying, "Oh, TNA stood chest and ass," and I'm like, "No shit, Sherlock."
Yeah, but that's Vince Russo, and he's an idiot. So what are you going to do?
Oh God, yeah.
So we do get another matchup for the Manhattan Center, in which we see Bray Wyatt taking on Woken Matt Hardy. I'd said this on Twitter, and I still stand by it. If it was any other night, I'd be pissed off that they put this matchup on Raw. But since it was at the Raw 25th anniversary show, I'm just like, okay, I will accept it. So
I still feel like this should have been on regular TV. I know it's the 25th anniversary, but even so, given that this is the 25th anniversary, I think what they should have done is tried to make another kind of iconic moment and really flesh out stuff with like the Woken universe. Like, we've had him talk about meeting Sister Abigail, we've had him play chess with Goldfish, and we've had him laugh. Actually do some supernatural Woken Matt shit, Make this really cool, crazy moment for the 25th anniversary. I think that would have been a much better use of our time than having this match. And I know that's weird. I know I'm arguing against the match, but I think that we could have stripped other segments down or even removed them to make room for one, maybe even two other matches to replace it. That way we get 5, possibly 6 matches, 2 matches an hour, and still had this as a big moment. I feel that's kind of where this is kind of where the show's a bit of a letdown for me. I would have preferred that. I would have preferred the additional matches. That's just me talking.
Yeah. And what's actually interesting is that we did get basically 2 different announced teams. We had Corey Graves, Michael Cole, and Booker T for Raw in Barclays Center. And we had JR and the King for the Manhattan Center. And one of the things that they did for the Manhattan Center one was during this matchup, I think JR and King, they basically tried to erase everything that happened with the whole Sister Abigail deal, where it's like, well, we don't know who Sister Abigail is. Maybe one day we'll meet Sister Abigail and blah, blah, blah. It's like, wow, they've completely just erased the wreck that was Bray Wyatt in drag a few months ago. And honestly, only JR and King could do that, because it was one of those things where it's like, it took me a while. I was like, didn't they? Oh, never mind. It's one of those moments where it's like they're doing such a good job with commentary that's like, I completely forgot that was even a thing, where it's like, oh yeah, Bray was in this random veil thing. That's right. That was almost a thing. But, yeah, the match itself was decent. It wasn't one of those things where it was like, I think I would argue that it was probably like second best matchup on the card. Bray Wyatt defeats Matt with Sister Abigail, and that was basically the end of that. So I still think that there's going to be, more battles going on between the two of them. So I'm hoping that they do a little more, like you said. Maybe they'll bring in supernatural stuff. Maybe they'll bring out something different. But I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. We go into another segment in which we see the women get highlighted. Basically, they're talking about how all these women basically helped create women's division for WWE. It's awesome. We get the Bella Twins. Great to see them. Maurice, who's definitely showing that she is expecting. It's like, okay, this is awesome. Then we see Kelly Kelly. I'm like, oh my god, sweet Kelly Kelly. Lillian Garcia, yay!
No, back up. Kelly Kelly sucked. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest. She was in the ring. I mean, I don't know anything about her as a person. I'm sure she's a perfectly wonderful human being. So don't think this is like some kind of a personal attack. This is just me talking about her in-ring ability. And she was, I could have gone the rest of my life without seeing Kelly on WWE television.
Yeah, that's probably one of those moments where I'll disagree because, as bad as Kelly was, quote unquote, nothing will ever beat Eva Marie, especially, or, what was her name? Cameron, who basically figures out that, oh, hey, I'm going to do a cover while my opponent's on her belly. Really smart. Just good job.
I'm not saying she's the worst. Kelly's not the worst, obviously, but she ain't good.
Well, no, I get what you're saying, but we're not here to bash on the women. We're here to actually, show appreciation for them. And who better to show appreciation for than the next one, which was Lillian Garcia. Literally, I'm just like, oh my God, she's still found like the fountain of youth. She still looks the same as she did back in the day. And it's literally just like, yes, love it. We also get Jacqueline. Tori Wilson makes a comeback, which was a surprise to me. I'm like, oh wow, she is back. And I think I definitely do see the age there a little bit. Same thing could be said about, Michelle McCool. But at the same time, it's not one of those things where I'm like dissing them. Because I think Tori Wilson was like in the medium zone as far as wrestling goes. Michelle was awesome. We get Terry Runnels. Literally, this is one of the moments where I just marked out the most because as soon as I hear the theme song, here's to the greatest love. Yep, Maria comes out and she's showing that she's expecting to, and literally I'm just like, I'm totally okay with this. Although, I mean, I would have loved it if she would have brought, the miracle with her. Now some people would say, like, but the miracle's in her belly. I get that. The miracle of childbirth, that is one thing. But nothing can beat the miracle Mike Bennett. I'm sorry. And yes, I'm using a TNA reference, so if you don't like that, then we'll shut up. And then we ended, of course, with Trish Stratus.
I'm not criticizing you, but I am judging.
Yeah, you know what? Shut up, dude. You've said things where...
Just because we're friends doesn't mean I'm not judging you.
Right, yeah. Just shut up. Yeah, like I said, we rounded off the women with Trish Stratus. All great women, and all of them did play crucial roles in the women's division for Monday Night Raw. It was great to see that. A couple of things that kind of did sting. Actually, Gail Kim actually made a tweet about how it's really weird that people like Molly Holly and Lita and Victoria were not involved in this whole plethora of women that were involved with this. And Lita definitely, I was kind of surprised not to see her, but I'm guessing maybe she had a prior engagement. Molly Holly was another one where I'm just like, wow, she's not involved in this? Come on, what's going on there? Victoria as well. I thought she was...
Really odd omissions going on here. I mean, like you said, maybe people had prior engagements, but I mean, you would talk about people conspicuous in their absence. So, damn, that's a shame.
Yeah, because one of the most crucial matches was indeed Trish Stratus versus Lita for the women's title on a main event Monday Night Raw. That was awesome.
Exactly. That's a huge moment in Raw history. The crowd was all over that. That rivalry was intense, fucking amazing. To this day, I'm still surprised they gave away that shit on free TV. That deserved a pay-per-view spot, but fuck it. That made for an amazing Raw moment. Oh, goddamn, man. It's a shame that we couldn't have both participants from that match.
Yeah. I think that if they were to bring up highlights and stuff like that for previous Raws, that would have been one of the definite ones that people would definitely want to look at and think, wow, that's really what makes women's wrestling amazing. Great storytelling, great in-ring chemistry between the two of them, just absolutely awesome. So basically, we'll entitle this next segment, the next 15 minutes, basically, of Monday Night Raw, as just Raw is Elias, Because here comes Elias Sampson. He has his guitar, and he's just walking up. He stops, and literally I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, is he going to be confronted by the Honky Tonk Man? Nope. He gets confronted by Chris Jericho. And literally I'm like, oh my god, he made the trip all the way to Japan just to be here. I'm totally fine with this. And Jericho just sings him a nice little song and basically just jokes with him saying like, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to put you on the list. Just kidding, you made the list. And literally, I'm just like, oh, Jericho, God damn it. Just.
Jericho is a full baby MVP
It was just literally like one of those things where it was just a major tease, and Jericho knows how to do that. It's awesome. Just even for like a 10-second Chris Jericho segment, that makes any Monday Night Raw worthwhile to watch.
I'm just going to say this every time he asks, who wants to walk with Elias? Right here, motherfucker, I'll walk with you. I haven't been to a good concert in a long time. Come on, let's do this.
Oh my god. And I really loved what he did with WWE, where he basically said WWE doesn't stand for World Wrestling Entertainment. It stands for Walk with Elias. Literally, I'm just like, put that shit on a t-shirt right now. I would buy that t-shirt just basically as a giant middle finger to WWE. Just says, Walk with Elias, not Wrestling Entertainment.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, basically, Elias comes out and he's just chatting with Jimmy Fallon, which literally I thought was a perfect tie-in. Some people probably didn't understand, like the reference that Elias was doing, where he said to Jimmy Fallon, here's how it's done, because a few nights ago, Jimmy Fallon had Triple H and Stephanie McMahon and the New Day on for the lip sync battle deal.
You were going to reference this.
So as soon as he said, this is how it's done, I'm like, yep, he's referencing the lip sync battle. And this would draw out our friendly neighborhood and God help us all, John Cena, in one of the most god-awful colored t-shirts I have ever seen. I hate that color green. I literally said, I see that t-shirt and it makes me just want to, and I had like that action deal where it's just like, tries not to barf too much, where I'm just covering my mouth. It's just like, yeah.
I gotta run some past you here. You know that for about the past year and a half, I've really come around on John.
Okay.
And the guy can have a lot of, and regardless of what anyone's opinions on him are, whenever the guy gets on the mic, he brings a lot of energy. I bring this up because who the fuck injected him with horse tranquilizers? Dude didn't look like just out of it, didn't he?
He did kind of. I mean, there's a part of him that I think there's like a small part where he had a little bit of energy. Also, I do want to make a case that John Cena takes the fun out of everything, where basically he says, not only do I, but also Brooklyn has balls, and he says, there's a pair of them right now, and they show the camera just of two security guys taking away beach balls, and I'm like, damn you, Cena, I hate you. And I want you to just get knocked out by Big Show at least 10 times. Then we'll call it a career. Then we'll call it good.
I know, but it bugged me mostly just because it was completely unnecessary, and it fucked with a perfectly wonderful Elias segment. But on top of that, like I said, he had no energy for them. And that's what he's pretty much good for, is having a lot of energy and intensity all over the place, and let me tell you something, Jack. And comes out here, and it's the 25th anniversary of Raw, and the dude acts like, just fucking, like he just smoked a bowl in the back with RVD, and he just all, spaced out. Like, dude, 25th anniversary, could you possibly bring your A game? I was actually kind of pissed off.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, it was he didn't really need that much energy because he literally just got laid to waste by Elias Sampson, where Cena does basically like 3 of his 5 moves of doom. He does the shoulder tackles, he does the power bomb, the 5-knuckle shuffle. Cena goes for the AA. Elias Sampson hits a just excellent low blow. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm like, holy crap, we have not seen a low blow in quite some time. totally okay with that. Then Elias Sampson takes his guitar, smashes Cena, and then hits his spinning fisherman suplex. Basically, Cena is just like laid out, as you said. Elias just looks really strong. And literally, if this, if somehow this goes into like a WrestleMania feud between Elias and John Cena, that'd be amazing. I think that, there's a lot of people that are still debating on, what's going to happen with John Cena, because originally it was supposed to be, John Cena versus Samoa Joe, but since Joe got hurt with that foot injury, and the only update I have about that is that they're taking it kind of week by week. It's kind of one of those things where it'll heal up when it heals up. There's no timeline for when he'll be coming back. But there's still a lot of guys that John Cena could work with going into WrestleMania. You could have Cena versus Balor for WrestleMania, which would be awesome. Cena versus Bobby Roode, I think would be excellent. There's a time where people wanted to see that dream match, and I myself still want to see that as a dream match. I would love to see it. Just, there are a lot of guys that are still on the roster where you can actually have John Cena really help, put over. Just don't have Cena win, because he defeated The Miz last year, and that was kind of the giant, biggest, what the fuck moment. There are other moments in that WrestleMania where it was like, what the fuck? But that was the start of it, where it was like, what? Why? Just why?
This fuck too.
Yeah, well, stranger things have happened. Speaking of stranger things, let's go into the final segment of the poker game, in which the New Day, rounds it off. Slater seemingly has won a hand, but then he's basically accused of cheating, and he's found out that he is cheating. So APA is just like, hey, no, we are civilized individuals, and we will not allow, brawls and blah, blah, blah in our deal. You want to do that, take it to the ring. So this would eventually build up to Titus Worldwide versus Slater and Rhino. But then we see Ted DiBiase win the hand, and it was all in, so all the money was taken there. And what I really loved is like Ted DiBiase's like pulling all the chips in, and there's still like one of the New Day pancakes in there. He just literally just picks it up, just tosses it like nothing, and then he just grabs the rest of the chips. And then we, of course, just see Ron Simmons just looking on, and he's just like, damn! Oh, man. I literally said that it wouldn't be a Monday Night Raw, and it wouldn't be Raw 25 unless, Ron Simmons gave a damn.
That was fucking great.
Oh, man. Somehow I think that poker segment was just so entertaining, more entertaining than so many other interesting. No, I might stand corrected, because this next segment was actually pretty damn funny. Featured Mark Henry coming back, and we see him with the Godfather, and what we assumed was as Hacksaw Jim Duggan would say, "Oh," and basically Mark Henry talks about growing up and everything's different now. He says like, what was your name again? Olivia? Oh yeah, Olivia. And Godfather just says like, yeah, her name is Olivia. That's my wife. Literally, I'm like, oh my god. I think I literally fell on the ground laughing.
This place is some fucking place.
Oh man, that escalated really quickly to where it was just like, oh, are we gonna get a repeat of Mark Henry and just this random woman just having fun together? No, we get basically introduced that, hey, that's my wife. I'm like, oh no, Henry, no. You just retired, dude. Oh my god. I love that they brought the whole sexual chocolate into the fray, and then that just happened. It's like, wow, bravo WWE for that. That was a good segment. That was like a Class A burn right there.
God damn. Better get the healing staff for that one.
Right. Well, Mr. Henry's in retirement now, so he doesn't have to worry too much. Yeah, like I said, we got Titus Worldwide versus Slater and Rhino, which ends in a no contest. But it's not all for naught, ladies and gentlemen, because we get the return of the Dudley Boys. They come in, they're ready for a fight, and it's 4 against 2, which, first of all, is like, you guys could just take them out. You know that, right? It's like, yeah, but we're just going to give him Heath Slater. And Slater gets a nice little what's up, and then a 3D through the table, which I literally thought to myself, well, if they do the whole 3D through the table deal, then, you know, maybe Bubba Ray was kind of lying a bit when he said that it was going to be the last table that he breaks in Ring of Honor. But maybe it was just that. Maybe it was just him saying, you know, that's the last table he would break in Ring of Honor, instead of just saying last table he would break, you know, period. Because, I don't know, it was kind of one of those things where it's like, well, if they bring the table, okay, so it was, you know, last table he would break in Ring of Honor, not in, you know, all of wrestling. So it's all forgiven. Plus, it's the Dudley Boys. It's Raw. All's forgiven.
All things forgiven.
I can be a very forgiving person. I know. We get Mean Gene Okerlund interviewing AJ Styles. Very entertaining segment, and I love how AJ just calls back to Hulk Hogan saying, well, let me tell you something, Mean Gene, and talks about how he's going to remain the WWE champion after the night's over, and AJ Styles, you know, leaves. Mean Gene Okerlund's just kind of standing there, just kind of like, who was that guy? I don't know who he is, but I like him.
I don't know who he is, but I like him.
I mean, didn't he kind of have that face of just like a elderly man who kind of had like an Alzheimer's deal, where it's just like, I don't know who that guy is, but I like him.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so we go back to, of course, the Manhattan Center, in which we see the DX reunion. Shawn Michaels and Triple H, they do their little spiel. I loved where Shawn basically just says, like, you know, I was the one that started off as kind of the leader here, but yeah, you're just the leader of everything. I don't get to do nothing anymore. And I'm literally just like, Shawn's being a 5-year-old again, and it's so funny. I don't care how old he gets. He can be like 85, and he can act like a 5-year-old for all I care. Just damn it, Shawn. And then, of course, they talked about a lot of the DX moments where basically they just said, like, well, no, you can't talk about that. You can't talk about that. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to build up into a WWE Network plug, isn't it? Sure enough. I'm just like, damn it. Why couldn't we have had Mick Foley do that? Because he was better at doing cheap pops than Shawn Michaels. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion.
No, I got to agree with you on that one, man.
And, of course, they bring out the New Age Outlaws, and then that brings in, you know, Sean Waltman, a.k.a. X-Pac. And then we get to something that a lot of people I noticed on Twitter were really pissed off about. There were people that were just, like, they were dropping F-bombs and just cussing out WWE. Razor Ramon comes out during his entrance, and without any kind of warning, he's basically, like, halfway down the aisle deal, and then they cut to commercial. No warning whatsoever. And it's like, what? Just, whew. Yeah, if you saw the heat that people were giving WWE on Twitter, you would know how people would really feel. Because they were just saying, like, oh, you want to cut during his entrance? Fuck you guys. You guys suck. You guys go do blah, 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 blah. I literally thought to myself, you know what? I am backing away from this. I am mad about this, but at the same time, I feel like there's going to be death threats towards WWE to any cameraman that just decide, oh, he's going to take a while. Let's just go to commercial. It's like, you just disrespected a Hall of Famer. Way to go. Just clap, clap, clap.
Not a fan of this segment.
Oh, was it just kind of the same old, or was it just what was it that you didn't like about it?
It felt very formulaic, and I don't think it did anyone any favors personally.
Yeah, especially not two individuals in particular, but we'll get into that in a bit. This would draw out, of course, Balor Club, in which they do like this giant, like, 2-suite deal, which I literally thought, dude, we're basically getting New Age Outlaws, DX, NWO partially, Bullet Club, all doing the 2-suite. This is kind of a cool moment. I mean, it's still not as cool as, AJ and Finn Balor doing the 2-suite, but definitely, I think, the second best. Billy Gunn was about to do his shtick for the DX deal. This brings out the Revival, and as everybody predicted, Revival gets basically buried, in which we see the Club beat them no problem. I think it was like maybe 2 minutes. Then we see, X-Pac do his X Factor. Road Dogg does his punches. Billy Gunn does the famous sir. We see the super kick pedigree deal with the coup de grace. So basically, if you remember the Ascension getting buried by guys like the NWO, New Age Outlaws, and APA, yeah, that was basically what the Revival went through tonight. And oh boy. That was one of the major low points for the show. I was literally pounding my head like, no, I like Revival. They're awesome. Why do you do things why do you kill things that I love? Why do you hate me? I think I literally said I was also crying for different reasons.
Yeah, like I said, I was not thrilled with this particular segment.
No, I wasn't either. And then, just basically to end the show, we have nothing really nothing unusual. The triple threat deal, there was everybody there, but they did absolutely nothing. Brock Lesnar F5 Kane, and then Braun Strowman power slammed Brock Lesnar through a table. Braun Strowman's looking tall, looking strong, going into Raw, and that's the end of it. I still was okay with it because, Braun Strowman's going in looking strong, but everybody knows what the final result's going to be, unless they pull a major swerve and they put the belt on Braun Strowman, which, honest to God, that'd be an amazing swerve.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, man. So, all in all, Raw 25, very entertaining. I think that for the most part, it could have used a couple more matches, like you said, Max, but in all, I thought it was a pretty good Raw. I still stand by my statement by saying that this is the Raw that will be the bar setter for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think in terms of, shocking moments, getting big notes, and in terms of advancing storylines, definitely. Not necessarily a bar to hit for how matches you should have, but it's definitely a bar to hit for overall quality.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Also, I want to know your thoughts on the idea that they had of doing Monday Night Raw at the Manhattan Center as well as the Barclays Center, because people at the Manhattan Center, they were getting pretty heated. They were getting mad really easily because the fact that they either had to A, wait for a segment to come from Monday Night Raw, or B, because they felt like they got completely gypped. But I want to know kind of your thoughts. What were your thoughts on the Barclays Center and the Manhattan Center both holding this 25th anniversary of Raw?
Given some of the stuff I heard about how it was handled, a lot of times people were sitting around an empty ring, not really watching much of anything. So I think that's a little screwy. I think there's probably better ways to have handled that. Maybe ways that more consistent stuff going on. Maybe, I don't know, not split it up like that. I don't know. Maybe there wasn't a way to do it. But I can definitely understand why people are upset.
Yeah, I really wish that they would have, done a little bit more stuff. I think if they would have done like a half and half deal, like, you know, done like maybe 2 hours from the Manhattan Center and maybe 2 hours from the Barclays Center, then I think it would have been easier for them. And then, you know, maybe things would have been a little bit easier for them to, like, coordinate stuff. But for the most part, I think it was really tough for them to just go from, like, you know, this segment here and this arena to this segment here and this arena. And there were a lot of, like, dark matches going on at the Manhattan Center where a lot of people were getting pretty pissed off. I think there was, like, a tag team match with the Cruiserweights that ended in, like, a no contest. And people were just really yelling, like, you know, bullshit, bullshit, and screaming, like, we want refunds, stuff like that. So, I mean, it seemed like it was a good idea at the time, but the execution was the only issue.
Yeah, I got to agree there as well.
Yeah, so again, Monday Night Raw tonight was pretty good, very, very entertaining. Good to see a lot of the legends, and, you know, I think maybe it is going back to what we've been saying for a long time, and that's the 3-hour markers are just too long. You need to cut back to the 2, make it easier, because then, you know, people wouldn't be so winded, or they wouldn't be so, I guess exhausted. Much like, you know, Jerry Lawler and JR. There's like a picture of somebody just took a really good picture of them. They had their eyes closed and looked like they were just napping during, like, I think Barclays Center segments. It was so funny. This
was probably quite a night for everybody involved, man. This looks like it took a shitload out of everyone involved.
Right. All right. So, with that being said, before we get into the shout-outs, I think we're going to cut it good for you, Mr. Max Beatty, because I'm sure you got a busy day tomorrow. But thank you again for, you know, doing this show with me on such short notice. I think we just decided earlier today, it's like, oh, you want to do a show after Raw? Oh, yeah, definitely. I think we weren't expecting it to last, you know, as long as it did. But all in all, like we said, pretty entertaining show. And thank you again for doing this with me, man.
My pleasure, man.
All right. Well, you have a good night, sir, and I will see you on Friday for the prediction show.
Your pleasure, my friend.
All right. Talk to you later, bud.
See you later, man.
Yep, bye.
Bye.
All right, so, guys, I definitely wanted to get into the deal that was going on. Earlier, as I mentioned, there were a lot of people that actually were interacting with me on Facebook. This is going to be a pretty long list. I'm actually also going to post this list up on my Twitter at RealFNGame, as well as on probably some other formats. But I got to give a shout out to a lot of these people. They either replied to me or they conversated with me throughout the day before Raw happened and before and during Raw. So thank you guys so much for interacting. So let's get into the shout-outs here. Patrick, who is at PattyL94. Hashtag Balor Club Forever Appeasy at Daddy Art. Wrestling Talk at Wrestling Talk with 2 Ks at the end. Zeus at Zeus King _Dark. Brandon Goldberg at B Goldberg 34. Casa de Los at The Los. Stupid and Delicious at Sad Podcast. It is literally SAD Podcast. I loved it. Colleen Haston at, I'm just going to spell it out, CHSCSI 1994. Scooby at Scooby Dude. Kathy at Blue 70517. The Handsome Randall at Handsome Randall. Jay Serrano at Jay Serrano, but instead of an O at the end, it's a 0. Matthias Glass, who actually did a tag me in a post earlier today. Hasidic Outlaw. Shayna at Hey It's Shay. Well, it's Shayna at It's Hey Shay. Cheryl Bass at Lady Cayenne, and Robbie Rob, who just did a massive deal where he did shout-outs to a lot of people who talked during Monday Night Raw 25, at Robbie Rob James. Again, you guys, I will post them up on my personal Twitter at Real Effing Game. Thank you guys so much for interacting with me throughout the show. You made it that much more memorable. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at Real Effing Game, as well as give a like on the Facebook fan page, facebook.com/changing up the game. You can also give Mr. Max Beatty a follow on Twitter at Agent Cooper 1989. Also, guys, little promotional plug here. collarandelbow.com have a great website where they have great merchandise, and if you use the code CWIAK, you can get an exclusive discount that you can find only here on the Game Changer. So, as stated before, there's a lot going on this week. It's going to be Royal Rumble weekend, and we have our prediction show on Friday, which will feature myself, Max Beatty, as well as the Elite Ringside Network Spencer Hart, Chris Lockman, and AJ Jensen. It's going to be a pretty crazy deal as we battle it out for the Elite Ringside Network Championship. It's the first major title defense that I have since winning the title at Survivor Series in November. It's going to be something you can't miss. And of course, guys, Saturday is NXT TakeOver Philadelphia, as well as Sunday is Royal Rumble. So definitely a lot to look forward to this upcoming weekend. Of course, ACW Water City WrestleCon taking place on April 21st. It is a Saturday. A lot of people are going to be advertised for that show. Joey Ryan, Sonny, Ryback, Scott Steiner, Hurricane Helms, the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, and so many of the major guys here in Wisconsin, such as the ACW champion Sadis, as well as the ACW Water City champion Colin Brooks. This card is subject to change, so be on the lookout for any changes that might be happening during the deal. So, with that being said, this has been the Game Changer. I've been Nate the Effing Great. Thank you so much, and talk to you guys in the next episode. Adios. Have a good night. Monday Night Raw. Keep up the good work. SmackDown. Let's see what you guys pull off tomorrow.
You are now tuned in to the world's greatest. Tonight is the night. Bright lights, high cloud. Yeah, we keep the flow down. Everybody get loud. Tonight is the night. A-list, can't miss. When we burn it to the ground. Everybody get down. Tonight is the night. We stay grinding while our feet can't rise. And stay climbing, now we on top. It's not something you get. It's just something we got. 'Cause I don't know if you know if you know we playing or not. Tonight, lights flashing when we step into place, and you can feel the raw excitement from the look on their face. It's like the prize right in front of my eyes to take, and the sky's the limit, got no time to waste. Tonight's the big code, strike quick but creep slow. The competition is out at the moment that we show. Countdown from 3, go, press X to reload. Yet they still try to topple the kingdom that we own. Outnumbered but outgunning, we're fearless and crowd stunning. Never an error on record, there's no one to protect you. And we would still be right here if all the money was burned, but we stay bumping in your ear 'cause the money